Okay. So first, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Um, this is to show how much Mark was loved by all of us. Um, he was truly a great man, and he honestly did care about other people first. Um, and it's evident in all of his actions. So, it's unfortunate that he's no longer with us, and I'm gonna have to proceed on without him and his guidance. But that's how it is.
Mark likes fire.
Yeah.
He sure does.
Well balanced person.
There was a lot of times that we had a lot of fun at our property. I found, or Jeff before he left showed me the video where we were just sitting there plinking on in the pond with my Mosin, and yeah, no, it's just the fun stuff that we would have, the pranks that he would do. There's so many good memories, and yeah, just gotta keep them going. So, as much as I can say right now. Would anybody else like to speak up?
I'm not going to use the mic.
Okay.
So, I spent a lot of time with Mark before he chose his early departure. I had a lot of conversations about a lot of the things that were eating him up. Starting shitty, I'm going to end on a high note, I promise you all. A lot of the things that were killing him were things that would fuck up any one of us, right? Like, I'm sure that you and Mark had at least a few conversations about it, but family issues were definitely a thing that weighed heavily on him. His feelings of self-worth, the way that he perceived the effect that he had on this world. He was under the impression that nothing that he ever did was good enough. And every single one of us around him that chose to be close to him, we tried our very best to push into his head the idea that he was dead fucking wrong. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, anybody who genuinely knows me, you know that I'm not sunshine and rainbows all the time. You know I battle with my demons all the time. And so did Mark. He lost his fight, at least this round. But the things that I think about when I think of Mark are the goofy shit that he would do. Like, his favorite thing in the world, go to hand you something, shove it right in his pocket. Just because he knew it would annoy you, especially Daniel in particular.
Because he knew he'd catch me just about every fucking time.
He would make sure Daniel was good in the strike. The things that I'm going to remember about Mark until the end of my days are the things that made me giggle. Like seeing a man that big fucking rocking the twinkle toes, he, giggling and running away from you when you did something stupid. That's a memory that'll stick with me forever. His D&D character in our last campaign, this one that's running right now, he named the character Sildenafil. For those of you who don't know, he knows. But for those of you who don't know, this is a medication that you take when you're having issues in your masculinity, physically that is. But he named his character this, and his character was centered around this whole plot where he was going to charge everybody around him for healing. And he was going to make it really expensive, and he was going to use this really obscure currency because he thought it was funny. Not because it was effective, but because it got a laugh out of everybody. And while Mark struggled with this idea that he wasn't going to do anything that mattered with his life, I think every single one of us in this room, if given the opportunity, would tell him just how fucking wrong he was. Yeah? So, I'm trying very hard today to make sure that I'm not wallowing in the sorrow. I'm trying to remember the good things because there were a lot of I miss him. I miss him real bad. And I've already told every one of you guys that I can that if I see Mark in the afterlife, the first thing that's happening is getting kicked in the shin for all of this undue suffering he's caused. But thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for remembering our brother. And I hate the fact that this is the thing that brings us together today, but I'm glad that it did.
One other thing I want to point out, that lamp in the corner, one of Mark's characters in Lester's campaign, the campaign right before this one, his character would become an inky black cloud, essentially, his amorphous cloud, kind of ethereal spirit. And so whenever he'd do that, he would turn that on and be like, I'm inky black now. So I got that set up. It's going to be staying on all the time. And I'm going to probably set it behind the nice bar that Mark donated to us.
So people can get drunk to his inky black.
Yeah. Got it.
Want me to hold that for you? Lights fired. Easy, very well balanced person.
I'm gonna sit down. I get sore. I'm standing around cooking. I have to tell you the story about how Mark got Sophie, the kitty cat, from me. Sophie was a little tiny black and white cat that actually my daughter had adopted down in Texas, and when we came back from Texas and moved up, we had Sophie. And she had gotten very sick, and so I had to hand feed her and medicate her and give her just special food, and doing that with animals is very difficult, because sometimes, you know, they rebel and they don't want you to touch them, or they don't want to take anything in their mouth, and I had to go on an Army weekend drill, which meant I was going to be gone for a few days. And so I said to Mark, would you be willing to take over on Sophie? And he's, yeah, sure. And so I just showed him what he had to do. She just was so good for him, and he bonded with her, and that bond was very deep, and it was complete. And when I came back, I recognized that, and it's like, yeah, that's your cat now. And so he took Sophie back down to California and was there with her, and he took wonderful care of her whole life. And then when he moved back up here, he had a little cat. He liked those little ones, and really sweet little one named Reese. And I had gone over to take care of her and kind of update her shots this year, the week before Mark chose to leave us. And he made sure that Reese was all up to date and everything. And he, and I remember sitting there, looking at the array of food he put out for her. He had two kinds of watering dishes, a little fountain, and just wonderful water sources all set up, and 2 or 3 different kinds of food. And he was buying those churros, which are the little squirt up yummy cat food that comes out of the tube, by the case. And so I sat there, and everything I had to do for Reese took maybe just a few minutes, and the rest of the time I actually sat with Mark, and we hung out for about an hour, just kind of catching up and talking. And I teased him a little bit about how Reese was spoiled too. And he fully owned it.
You're forgetting about when you came back and Mark had asked, "Can I keep Sophie?" And you said, "Yeah, sure, of course." And he ran over and grabbed the cat box, and he just did that twinkle toes back to his room, and he was just so happy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he just had to have her with him in the room. Yeah, that was pretty spectacular. So he was truly wonderful with all the animals he took care of. He helped take care of all the animals at our home. He even went with Daniel on forays to get hay, and took care of the fencing for the horses, which is easier to do when there's more than one person doing it. So he was with Daniel for the long haul on that. And I gotta tell you, my other thing too was whenever there were things that had to get fixed that were pretty big, spectacular things at the house. Gosh, I think I might have been deployed, so in like an 8-hour different time zone, and Daniel is talking to me, and I'm like, "Where are you?" And he goes, "I'm on the roof." And you and Mark were putting shingles up at night? And it was like, that's so bizarre. Why are you doing that? Well, that's the only time we're at home. Okay.
And then we had the well freeze one night, and it was like a Friday night, of course. So it froze, blew a pipe, and I'm like, "Oh shit, we don't have water pressure." And I go out, and it's during a real snowy time, and so me and Mark, me primarily, was like, "Okay, I'm not a plumber, but I know the basics of PVC plumbing," so I just started fucking slapping it together, undoing it and stuff. And the entire time Mark was sitting there, he'd be petting Leo, the big mastiff mutt that we had, and he's like, "That's a good dog, Wilbur." And he would try to rename Leo and get him to respond to Wilbur. And I'm just like, "Will you fucking stop?" And yeah, he'd do goofy stuff like that.
Excellent prank.
And so then the horses, he said to me, he asked me about the 2 horses I have left, and he goes, "Yeah, that yellow one, he'd come up to me." And I go, "Oh, he's the spookiest one. He doesn't go to anyone." He goes, "Oh yeah, he'd come up to me, but then he got mad at me because I tried to get on him and ride him." I did not see that coming. So, what I'm saying, he was good with people and animals, right? Yeah. And kind of amazing that I got that gift of the week before, of being able to sit and hang out with him, which I love to do. Mark could come over here, or I'd go over and be like, just really happy to see him and chat. So I feel good about that.
Here.
Would anybody else like to speak?
Yeah, so I'm Mark's older brother, Eric, and growing up, I was always like bigger than him, so wrestling was no problem. Other things, but I was no longer bigger than him at about like 30 years old or so. So I kind of didn't try to challenge him anymore on wrestling, especially if my other brother David was there. In the last 2 years, we lost both my brother David and now Mark, which I know took a toll on Mark as well. That said, if I'll hold Mark back while you're kicking him in the shins, so we got a team effort there. Processing that. Anyway, one memory I wanted to share that I don't think I've ever really told anybody except for maybe Mark and my mom, and just to give you a side of the, one time I was coming back from college. He was in Illinois in an apartment, and he wasn't, like, I got there first. He wasn't there yet. I hadn't met him yet because he was like still on his way back to the apartment, and he had all his games out and stuff, and I'm just like hanging out waiting for him to get there, and I hear this like loud knock on the door, and I open the door, and there's a police officer there, and the police officer is like, how cops are, so trying to get information out, and I'm like, I don't know why there's a cop at the door here. I'm pretty my brother is a good guy, but I haven't seen him for a while. I don't know if he's into some bad stuff. I don't want to say anything that gets him in trouble, but at the same time, I don't want to be resisting to this cop or whatever trying to ask me questions. So I kind of just threaded the line, and the cop was just really nice. And I just told him, he's like, are you Mark Jarvie? And, can I see some ID? They love their ID. And I'm like, I'm Mark's brother. He's not here yet. And, my heart's going pretty fast. And then I don't know if he was still into this. I don't remember seeing a lot of airsoft guns when we were cleaning up the apartment. But as I opened the door to talk to him, I noticed that the table behind me had all of Mark's airsoft guns that looked pretty real. I'm like, wait, there's a cop here. So I'm trying to block his view a little bit. And luckily he's like, okay, no problem. I'll come back I'll come back later. I'm like, and then Mark gets back, and my mom, I'm like, Mom, the cop just came. And she's like, that's okay. He was actually helping, he had some stuff stolen out of his car or something, or I don't know. It was totally not a big deal. But when you have those kind of heart shocks, I was that was one thing that rebuilt my faith in my brother. Okay, he's a good guy, and this wasn't I didn't need to fear the worst. So many crazy memories of fun times, he did love his pranks, and he probably got that a little bit from we have 4 brothers and 1 sister in my family, maybe you've seen the pictures, so we were growing up, doing all the things brothers do. It's really nice for me to see this kind of just be part of this group tonight, because I know he was you were his brothers and sisters, if you will. This was his family, and he loved it. And even though he kind of kept the family in his world, he tried to keep it a little separate. He would always say, I know he loved his friends. He loved playing games, watching movies, spending time with people. Anyway, lots of memories, and one thing I I work right now in video games, even though I'm probably the least likely of the people in the family to work for a game studio. I work at Halo right now, and I was always wondering, like, how did somebody like me land in a job where I'm doing video games when I was the person in the family who was the least of a gamer, even though, I think some of it might have been the way the universe kind of puts things together, because I got to see how awesome the gaming community is, which I hadn't been a part of, and how diverse it is, which I needed in my life to like kind of just like loosen up a little and embrace the diversity that we all have and the fact that we're all awesome, great people. And that was a huge thing for me, because it helped me like bond with Mark in a way that I had never had been able to, and to understand him a little bit. I still am far away from you. There's stuff I can't understand, but I'm glad for the last time we had together here in Washington, and that's probably about all the blathering I can do. But thank you everybody for being here tonight. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Clark. I knew Mark for about 10 years. I don't have a lot of remarkable stories, but I always appreciated how he set aside time to hang out with me and talk. He was really nice, and we just had a good time talking. But I have a few memories I wanted to share. Just some fun memories. About half a year ago, he found out that I regularly donate plasma, so he wanted to come with me and try to get started on that. So I took him in my car, and we just drove to Bellingham and went to the clinic and just drove around and saw some other places, and it was a good time. I remember a few years ago, he led me to his room at Daniel's house. He showed me this game he was playing on his PlayStation, I think. It was a Tetris clone, but it was like a tower or something. So it wasn't exactly like Tetris, but I used Tetris-like pieces. And I play a lot of Tetris, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. It was pretty good. And recently, before his passing, we were hanging out at Applebee's in our big friend group hangout. I made a Baldur's Gate reference saying "Go for the eyes," and it said "Go for the eyes, boo!" And he said "Good reference," and I thought it was cool that he got it. And I was happy about that. Yeah, that's really about it. I miss him, and I appreciate all the time I had with him, and just glad we had him in our lives. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Logan. Some of you people in this room may not know who the hell I am. I don't know who the hell some of you people are, but we all know each other now. Also, it's nice to see you, the Halo guy. You're the guy that Mark would always say, "Oh, my brother works at Halo Studios," which is really cool.
I gave him all the swag I could. And he would always
it was always awesome seeing his Halo shirts. Because I only got into it just last year, out of a two-way Steam purchase. It's like, I'm either gonna do Skyrim or Halo, and I went with Halo because I read too many bad reviews for Skyrim. It's a special edition, but I'm glad I went with Halo, because without that game I wouldn't be in the career that I'm in now, assembling electronics. So it was kind of like a pipeline. I started playing Halo on my computer. I remembered I used to have an Xbox, so I bought another Xbox. Then I got another one at a thrift store that was broken. And then thanks to Daniel here, I learned how to fix Xboxes. And then from there I showed the pictures to an employer, which they were impressed, and now I make circuit boards for the military.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like a theme in the game. You go all around. But what I liked about Mark is that he made a lot of pop culture jokes during our D&D games. It was always nice when he threw out a reference to something I knew. Like just offhanded one day, he brought up a reference to the Devil Witch, like the Devil's Sandwich, the Brood Witch from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which just showed that I was watching a lot during that time. So it was really cool hearing quips from him from things that I recognized. It was like one of the cool people. I thrive on pop culture in a way. In a lot of my interests, they like carry me through life. Especially, and I know he and I, we had, from the stories I've heard, he and I have a lot of similar demons and everything that we have to face. That's kind of like everybody in life, you know. Sorry, I'm really bad at public speaking.
You're doing fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Logan.
Yes.
Thank you.
I recall the very last time I ever saw him was at one of our usual nightly Applebee's visits. It was my first time seeing everyone again in a couple months because my sleep clock had changed because I work full time now, so I go to bed ridiculously early. So yeah, it was because I noted that last time he was wearing a Halo Infinite hoodie like I was. I'm not wearing one today because it's 60 degrees out. I don't want to sweat any more than I've already sweat enough today. Yeah, I just thought it was always cool because it's like, hey, I know this guy who has connections to the inside of Halo and everything. This thing I like, these stupid little video games about a little green guy shooting aliens. Maybe not so little. This guy's little, but in the game,
Not to scale.
in the game, he could probably do more than kick you in the shin. He could make you probably cry to your mama, and your mama wouldn't listen because your mama would just stand there and watch.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then when I got the news of, his departure, it fucked me up, because out of everybody in this room, I knew him the least amount of time. I didn't even know him for a whole year, and that's kind of what really dug at me. I didn't get a good enough chance to know him very well, outside of our D&D games that I sort of stopped going to as much because I had a hard time paying attention. It wasn't that I hated the game; it was just sometimes with my brain, it's just not that great, and I often go completely elsewhere. Like in the notebook that I had that I was trying to take notes for the game, I'd just sit there and draw pictures instead. But it was really cool. One time, Mark, he had taken notice that I was drawing a character from a TV show. I was like, "Oh, is that Mojo Jojo?" It's like, "Yeah." I was just sitting there drawing that. I thought that was so cool. Just right off the bat, recognized it. Yeah, just like what it says on some of the shirts and the pictures. Like how they say in all the marketing for the third Halo game, we gotta finish the fight, even if he's gone.
Yeah.
We gotta keep going.
That's good, Logan.
Thanks, Logan.
That was good.
I can get up if you want.
Oh, I guess.
Okay. That's fine. And I'm already up, so I'm Aaron. I'm relatively new to the island, and Daniel and gang are some of the first friends I made here local to my new community. And I just want to keep it short and brief. We all brought up Mark's humor, his ability to help people and really just connect with people and animals alike. I got to witness that. I just really want to highlight Mark's selflessness and how selfishly I feel saddened hearing some of the reasons around his decision. But I just wish for one redo to just say one thing to get clear to him. Your selflessness will take you far, and it is appreciated by more people than you could ever know.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to say something during my speech. I'm sorry. What I remember from our games, from the first round, when he was the turtle named Scud as his character, he would always give everyone good berries. Like no matter what, you'd be getting good berries from him. From what I can remember.
Yep. That was his little character thing is, Goodberry? He'd go up to a ethereal god in Lester's campaign and be like, and was it the guy was like, thanks.
That's your berry.
Good berry?
Good.
Yeah, it's something that just really stood out to me. It was like how everyone else was talking about his pranks and how I'll put this nicely. He was an ass and that was funny. 'Cause it's funny to be an ass sometimes. You know, annoy people, but like in a funny way.
Yeah.
Cuddle you afterwards.
You know, that's kind of how I am with my brother and my sister and my family and my friends. Just you gotta be an ass sometimes, but like in a way that's funny.
Yeah.
It's always good to be a prankster, but obviously reasonably. But of course, Mark was reasonable. But I think it's a big factor in why humor is such a big part of making people's lives so good. Like when he's laughing, everyone's laughing because we're all having a good time.
He did have a good laugh.
He did.
He did.
I do.
He was infectious.
One little known skill that we used to our advantage, like when we had a family call every week that we would talk like over Zoom with Mark and anyway, a couple years ago we found out he was the best person to give us movie recommendations because he'd seen more movies than any of us, right? But he also kind of knew a little bit about what things we liked or what things we would think were funny. So
I didn't mean to overstate my one.
there were lots of like I remember times where he would like recommend something and it was perfect and we had fun watching movies together, but that was a little gift he had, and it's a gift maybe some of us could cultivate and help with our, kind of keep alive somehow for other people.
One of my favorite memories was me and him watching Shaun of the Dead, and his joke that he would always make is, "Daniel, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna join the winning side." And I was like, "Okay, bud." And the last scene that you see, the little end credit scene is, "Hey, I'm gonna go pop out to the shed and play some games." And his wife or girlfriend is like, "All right, don't stay out too late." And Simon Pegg goes into the shed, sits down, boots up the game, and he's like, and then Nick Frost's character, "No, fucking stop!" And like,
He's a zombie.
Yeah, Nick Frost is a zombie in that, and he was my Nick Frost because I only saw that being the case of, me and him sitting there playing games, and you like, so. Would anybody else like to speak?
I just have two quick little stories about Mark's sense of humor.
Come over here, Eric.
I like it over here better.
Oh, okay. You can stay in the dark, I guess. That's all right. Like, there you go, bud.
So as has been mentioned, we'd go to like Applebee's on Saturday nights, and the team kind of rotates. Not everyone shows up every time, but I think it was the first time I went with Mark there. Berto, our bartender, had put like a glass of water down, and Mark and I had both ordered waters, but only one showed up. And so I thought it was mine, so I took it and started drinking it, and then Mark took it and started drinking it. He's like, I'm like, "That's mine." He's like, "No, I ordered that. That's mine." So we kind of fought over the water, and then, we turned it into a joke, because then every other time we go to Berto's, as Daniel calls it, I had no idea what that meant the first time he told me.
So Catherine and Giovanni, who were here before, or earlier, before they had to leave, they invited me out to Applebee's, and they're like, "Gotta come out Saturday nights with us." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And the reason was because the bartender Berto, he would make a proper drink. It wouldn't be like watered down or anything. He'd just make a good drink. And so the joke was, it's like, "Yeah, no, we're going to Berto's."
Yeah, which that's how he introduced me to it, and I had to ask him, "Where's that?" And it's Applebee's. But then, so every time Mark and I would be there, there'd be a water, and we'd kind of eye each other and just be like, "Is this one mine, or is this one yours?" And we'd just see who could grab the water first without making a mess. So that became our little joke every time we went to Applebee's. And then another memory I had was just a few weeks before he had passed. My son and I were playing a video game with him, and he was very excited because he hadn't had anyone to really play that game with him. Star Citizen. It's not out yet, but it's a fun spaceship game.
Next year.
Forever,
it's always
and
next
the
year.
end of the month. It's
next
releasing.
year.
Forever in beta.
Daniel's very bitter about it, but we're enjoying it. So. But he was excited because he finally had someone to play the game with him. Whereas before, like I was just talking to Eric. Oh, I'm other Eric, by the way, because I guess we already have an Eric. For the people who don't know me. But apparently he'd been mostly doing solo like space trucking, just hauling stuff by himself. So now he had people to play with him. So my son and I are like, well, what do you want to try? He's like, well, I haven't done any of the first-person shooter type missions, kind of like Halo. And we're like, okay, well, we'll go do that. So we load everything up, we bring our ship, we go get into the bunker, and then the game is somewhat alpha-y, so not everything works all the time. We're like, we think those are the bad guys, but we're not sure. So I just take a single shot at them. They start yelling and cowering, but nothing happens, so I stop. But then Mark and my son are like, wait, we think they're shooting at us, so they just mow everything down in the room. And then, then we start getting all these alerts about, crime stats, and you guys have committed an offense, and now everything's shooting at us, and I'm like, okay, well, let's get out. So we managed to make ourselves out. Some of us get knocked down. We have to do medical stuff to drag one of our bodies out to get it back up. And then they both end up dying, and I get away with the ship. And then when we finally have time settled down, they've now woken up in prison, so my son and Mark are now in the in-game prison for committing crimes. And then I'm looking at my character, and there's no crime. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how this happened because I shot first, but I guess since I didn't keep shooting and you guys just mowed everything down, you're now in prison. And we were trying to introduce Mark into like the first-person shooter part of the game and show how fun it is, and now he's in jail, and all you can do in jail is work off your time by doing some mining for the company that owns the jail. But he's still just laughing like, this is great, I've never done this before, I've never been thrown in jail in the game. And so he and my son are trying to work together to find where the stuff is and mine stuff, and I'm just sitting there like, should I break you guys out because you can do that in the game? Like, no, we're having fun, just figuring out how to serve our time. I'm glad you're having fun in this game because this was not what we had intended to do. So,
Best laid plans.
yeah, but it was just, he turned things that I would have been a little upset about, like, well, I wanted to play first-person shooter, and instead I'm playing serving jail time, and he was just having fun and a blast and just making it fun, and I was like, thank you, Mark. That it just made a memory with my son and I, and Mark. So, and that was like the last time I'd really talked to him. So, yeah. Thank you.
Managing the chaos he is.
Yes.
So I don't really have a lot to really add to what everybody else has already said, but I just wanted to kind of point out how talented he was. He's obviously very selfless, very caring, and paternal in some ways. But years ago, Daniel and I both worked at Walmart as unloaders, and we kind of wrecked our bodies for that company. And one of the things that he constantly offered was massages. He was very good with his hands, and that was honestly one of our godsends. We it didn't happen very often, but we would be hanging out at Daniel's, and he would just kind of appear and be like, hey, you guys are looking kind of rough, how about a massage? Or we could even ask him for one, and he would be like, yeah, no problem, I got my table, let's bust the table out, and it was not a problem. And he helped put us at ease both mentally, emotionally, and physically. And it was just, those were really good times. And I just, of course, I would always say thank you, but it doesn't ever really feel like enough. I wish I could say thank you more. So.
That was one thing I will always say is that, Mark, we all know Mark cared about people, but, he cared about, the joke was that he was HR, right, here, and, every once in a while, one of us would be like sore for whatever reason. He helped out me, he helped out Lester, he helped out Bobby, and then when our bodies were fine, but we may be experiencing some kind of like frustration like between each other, he'd always be the one that would step in and kind of be the mediator and just help work through whatever it is. And the joke that he always liked to say is like, when he'd be working on one of us, it'd be like, best thing about being HR, I can touch you, and what are you gonna do? Report to me? It's just like, shut the fuck up.
You can always count on Mark to make it weird.
He had both the light and the dark senses of humor down.
Yeah.
But always building up.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anybody else that would like to chime in?
I'm nervous. Okay, no, you join me.
I'm the ladies first.
Sorry, I'm a little. My nerves are a little fried, so thanks, guys.
You got
But,
this.
okay, and like in the spotlight too, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm sorry. Hi everybody, I'm Nicole.
I'm Nicole.
Hi. I really appreciate the spirit of, the intention behind first time we went to Berta Beast, kind of before family got in town and everything, just to kind of exhale together, and the intentionality behind, Daniel and Vivian and Donna and everybody, wanting to uplift and remind us of like the good moments and everything, and I think that way too when I think about him, but I it's quite sad, and I don't. I think that's fair, and I think Mark would think that's fair too. Sorry, my nerves are very fried. I'm sorry. I feel like I had a different relationship with him than like people here. We didn't really hang out here a lot. We hung out outside together. I felt like he humored me a bit with like what I would suggest, and he'd just go for it, like just like go for a walk in the woods, or like we'd go to the pool together. I was trying to like do healthy things and take better care of myself, and he was like down to also do that with me and for himself as well, and so that was nice to have company. He's quite good company. I'd like try to think of what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. I felt really safe around him, just really comfortable, and I felt like he met me where I was, and like there was like the horsing around, but like I think he was soft with me, and like I liked that, and I like remember kind of like wanting to be his friend but wasn't sure how, and like it was like before he got his car out here and I'd see him trotting around town when I was driving, like I'd pull off at the business ahead and be like, hey, like hop in, like where are we going? And he's like, no, he's like, I like this, he's like, I like moving, I like being out, and like he's like, thank you. And this would it was like became a joke of like I was like see him on the side of the road all the time. And I'm just like, can I come, like can we go on a walk together? Like I don't know, I just maybe I'm rambling. I think I saw pieces of myself in Mark, and it's that him being authentic and not masking things that I think sometimes that maybe men do mask because they're socialized like that they have to be the strong ones, and I think he did a good job of coming as he was, which invited me to do so as well. I mean, we didn't really get into like too deep of things, but I definitely recognized pieces of myself in him in a nice way that was comforting to like be new to town and be kind of like fish out of water, I felt like, but I regard him quite highly, and I went to the pool for the first time like the other day, and I don't know, sorry, but he's just so silly, and I don't feel like, I don't know, like language is important to me, and I feel like saying is and not was, like my brain doesn't, I don't want to say was about him, because he's here, like regardless of it, that he's in the room, like he's here, so I don't know, maybe invite you to like think of it that way instead of was. That's helpful for me with grief. Okay, this is quite a bit much. Thank you guys. Sorry. It's okay.
That's good. Good, Nikki. Thanks.
I'm Joella. I'm Eric's wife. So Mark was my brother-in-law. I met him when he was this cute little kid. And I loved how we bonded. I loved sci-fi. He was really into Stargate, and he knew that. And so, like you guys said, he would always recommend the good sci-fi shows for me to watch and talk about them. And he was so good. He is so good. He's so good at helping diffuse situations. Like, we'd get into a serious conversation with family or something, and he would crack a joke and just make everybody laugh and bring the tensions down and help us remember what's important. And that's our relationships with each other and the way we make each other feel and the strength we get from being together. And I love that. He is a great uncle. If you watch this, there's a picture that's kind of a red afterglow, and they're upstairs, and he had all our kids here and Thomason, and was throwing them to teach them how to throw knives, and he is just awesome, and I miss him.
So, another thing too to keep in mind, guys, speaking in the center in front of everybody in the spotlight, as Nicole had mentioned, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do. So what I would recommend to you, what I suggest to you is, if you want to tell stories about Mark, you got something on your chest that you want to get out, pull one of us aside. Tell the story. We could all use the laugh, or the cry, or the fuck you Mark, how dare you, you bitch. Right? Like those feelings of anger that some of us are feeling, myself included. Pull one of us aside, make use of the company we have here tonight. And even beyond tonight, I know that most of us have each other's numbers here. Don't just let this sit in your chest. It'll eat you alive.
Write it down.
That too. My last story for Mark was a while back. Mark had me over to the house or the apartment to watch Reese. And walking through the apartment, he's showing me all this different stuff. Like, here's the plethora of food that he has available for Reese to choose from, as if I'm going to give the cat the choice. Here's her litter boxes, multiple for just the one tiny little cat. The water dishes that Donna had talked about. But the first thing that Reese does as soon as she sees me is jump straight to me, which sparked all kinds of jealousy in Mark. Because it took him so long, I guess, to coax Reese into like being comfortable in his presence. But Reese just comes right up to me, jumps up into my arms, and you could just see this like that sharp intake of nasal breath, right? And that was just the thing that I would joke about with Mark every time that I came over to the apartment. Like I'd go over there and we'd play some one-on-one Magic or watch a movie or a sci-fi show of some kind. Hey Mark, where's Reese? Oh, there she is. There's my sweetheart. And then I'd go over there and nuzzle up on her, even though I'm allergic to cats. Just because I knew that it would piss Mark off in a friendly kind of way. But please, like I said, talk to each other. Lean on each other here. We're more than just a people who, more than just a group of people that are going to sit around crying tears together.
Anybody else like to speak? Or
What about the memories in the box? Does someone want to read them?
I don't know. That's something that Vivian had set up, and I wasn't sure besides that. But
Do you want them read up, dude?
No, they were really supposed to be like a last little
Like a thing we're sending out with Mark?
Yeah.
okay. I want to close out my section with. So, I met Mark, Lester, and Jeremy over at a game shop, which was called the Battle Den, which is now Area 51, which Jeremy now owns. And it was there that we all came together and we played games. I'm thankful because that gave me an opportunity to know all of you people and put me in the position that I am in now. One of the times that I visited Mark when he was in California, I was actually going down to a family funeral for my grandmother. And, you know, I was dealing with, you know, my dad and stuff. And he wasn't taking it well, obviously. But I kind of just needed to get out. And so Mark fucking came and just picked me up. And we went and we saw a movie. Went to a museum, Palm Springs Museum. And just went through there. And went through a gift shop, and we each got matching little pocket Swiss Army things with our names on them. And I found Mark's, and I'm gonna hold it and keep it till the end of days. So, the one thing that I do know Mark really wanted, which was, he wanted everybody to realize that he's sorry in that we have to experience the sadness. But he wanted us to realize that he wants us to be able to live our lives and have fun. And that's why he specifically told me on many occasions over the years, I want my wake to be here. I want people to remember me and have fun. So, that's why we got all the food. That's why I turned on everything. So, if anybody wants to play any games, if anybody wants to throw any implements to take out some frustration because you can't think of a good way right now, but you really want to throw a fucking axe down the lane and see it sink, and then, you know, let's fucking do it. Let's have some good fun, and let's remember him. Because, like Nicole said, he is with us still. We have his memory, and that's the important thing. So, that's all I got.
It's okay if you don't have a drink, but
To Mark.
here's to Mark.
Mark.
Let's have some fun, all right?
Yeah.
Yep.